Welcome back to Above Ground World News. We're going to be taking a look at the 16-day forecast tonight. We're going to hit a couple articles. I just got a couple that we're going to hit real quick here. Michigan to fight EEE by spraying 14 counties to kill the mosquitoes. Michigan, huh? Isn't it like cold up there now? Why would they be spraying for mosquitoes now? Summer's over. We're in fall. We're going straight from summer to winter. You know, we just reported here in the same area in Michigan about the deer population giving humans tuberculosis. You know, you like these numbers they use. Aerial pesticides will be sprayed in 14 counties starting Sunday to kill mosquitoes as state health officials work to combat the worst outbreak of mosquito-borne eastern equine in Michigan's history. There is no treatment. There is no cure. A rare virus spread by mosquitoes that kills 33% of the people. 33%, huh? Those who survive are often left with long-term neurological problems. 9 confirmed cases. So without your consent, they're going to be dumping poisonous particulates in the sky in 14 counties. How do you stop that? It's too late. They've already sprayed it. They started today. We also had a tornado, hail, snow as storms sweep through California. Cell phone video posted online showed a towering vortex spinning Saturday near Davis. National Weather Service forecaster Emily Heller told San Francisco Chronicle that there was no damage. Storm brings heavy wet snow to Montana and other U.S. states and Canada in fall. Winter storm warnings were posted for parts of western Montana, northern Idaho, and northeast Washington. Hey, you know who's up in North Idaho? How about the North American Weather Modification Company? We have to go over why the climate is so messed up and what they won't talk about. This article came out back in February 20th of this year. The growing industry of cloud seeding. You know, we're always told we're conspiracy theorists. We're always told that it's not happening. Your local meteorologists lie. You know, when they call for filtered sun, you know, or some kind of term like that, that's code word for spraying the skies. Cloud seeding, fake clouds, synthetic skies, cloud brightening, albedo modification, SRMs, you know, whatever you want to call it. But what it is filtered sun, but it's filtered sun by man. So there's a industry growing in the controversy that has powerful potential for environmental health and public well-being worldwide. This is the industry of cloud seeding, making it rain where it normally does not, or at a time when it normally would not. Although humans have been affecting weather patterns for millennia, with the way we've cut down forests and with uncontrolled growth of cities, this is the first time we know that an actual industry has developed to change the weather directly. Cloud seeding is widespread and growing, with some 150 ongoing projects counted worldwide in 2012, according to the government of Australia. Unregulated, the industry could be inadvertently or deliberately destructive, but some dangers have been experienced, and the government and international agencies are watching carefully. Some restrictive legislation has already been passed. They act like this stuff hasn't been going on, like they're just now doing it. Well, I'm going to show you documentation tonight, a secret file from the CIA. All right, so let's get out of that. And the reason why I want to show this, you know, climate change is a lie. The climate is always changing, but the thing they're not telling you is why we're seeing rain bombs, like double, triple the amounts of rain every time it rains, snow bombs every time it snows, hurricanes that they can park. Why the sky is more electrified? Well, there's several reasons why. Here's one of them right here, the North American Weather Modification Council. For the purpose is weather modification practice. Well, of course it is. Cloud seeding. Can all clouds be effective? Blah, blah, blah. So this is just one company. I'm just going to show you a few companies. All these links are in the description. Now here is a PDF in the description from Washington, D.C. Controller General of the United States. This is your response to your request of September 22nd, 1971 for certain background information on cloud seeding activities carried out in the United States under programs supported by the federal agencies. To the specific question contained in your request, we directed our review toward developing information on cloud seeding programs supported by the federal agencies, on the cost and purpose of such programs, on the impact of cloud seeding on precipitation, severe storms, and the types of chemicals used for seeding and their effect on the environment. We also obtained data concerning the extent of cloud seeding conducted over Pennsylvania. This 1972 document, they go over the budget, how much they spent, the Interior Commerce National Science Foundation from 1968 to 1970, around $16,921. Remember, this is 1972. They did precipitation modification, fog and cloud modification, hail suppression, lightning modification, and hurricane modification. In 1968 through 1972, do you think they're not doing it now? I just showed you a document the other day. Back in 1973, they said they could change the climate in days. President Kennedy stated that. Here we are at the Texas.gov, the TDLR, Texas Licensing Bureau, and here is a map of the rain enhancement projects that was done over in Texas in 2018. If you look through my video playlist, I have a video of the 2019 Weather Modification Association meeting they had, where they talked about how many clouds they seeded. They talked about seeding clouds that were already thunderstorm warned, but they seeded them anyway. They talked about seeding clouds that they had no business being seeded. They talked about using electromagnetics to make the rain more. Well, so here's all the counties that were hit with weather modification in 2018. All these links are in the description. Now here's at one time was a secret document from the CIA. For your information, some attachments are provided which show the extent of interest and trends in weather modification research in the United States. For example, federal support for 1967 will be 4 times that for 1963 and over twice as large in 1965. The copy of the letter from President Lyndon Johnson to the Secretary of Commerce shows that an expanding program has White House backing. So here we go, 1965. They've already had a budget for the cloud seeding. I think the trillions of missing dollars are. So here's your federal support for weather modification in millions from 1959 through 1967, $10.97 million. So, you know, for the people that want to say, not going on, man, I'm showing you right here. These are documents from the government, from the CIA, right here. Hurricane Bessie. The Weather Bureau provided excellent and timely warnings. Hurricane Bessie was one of the most intense and destructive storms ever to strike the United States. There has been serious loss of life and destruction and damage of property in southern Florida and Louisiana. Mississippi will run into hundreds of millions of dollars. And as you witnessed on Friday, Hurricane Bessie rendered a major American city, the city of New Orleans, completely prostrate. The storm knocked out the city's power system, its communication system, and its water purification system, leaving hundreds of thousands of people helpless and bringing this economic death toll. The toll of Hurricane Bessie would have been far worse, but for the magnificent work of the Weather Bureau, which is now an arm of the Environmental Science Services Administration. Hurricane Bessie was first detected at 2 p.m. on August 27th, 11 days before it struck the United States mainland. You know, I'm not going to read all this. I got the documents down in there. Lots of information tonight before we get into the 16-day forecast. Here's another document, State Water Survey Division, Atmospheric Sciences Section. Criteria for weather modification operations and effective evaluation, 1980. Like I said, these documents are all in the description. How about Idaho, man? You guys are getting some snow. Talk to your power company. Talk to the Idaho Power Company. They're harvesting the storm. This just come out this year, July 19th. Idaho Power uses injections of silver iodide from ground-based towers and flares on modified aircraft to coax winter storms to produce more storms, more snow. What do you think about that? Weather modification, aka cloud seeding, a technology whose time has come. This comes from the Water Resources and Research Center. There's some famous photos taken in the 40s and 50s when an airplane equipped to drop dry ice particles into the supercooled clouds, ice crystals formed via the seeding grew into snowflakes. Man, it's been going on forever. If we can't even get people to look up from their phones for 10 minutes and look at the stupid skies. The air that we're breathing is toxic, and if you want to stop climate change, you got to stop the weather controllers. You got to stop the governments that are spraying us with insecticides, turning our blue skies white. That's their goal. You also have the North American Weather Consultants Incorporated. Want to find out why you have so much snow right now? Snowfall, rainfall augmentation, fog seeding, fog dissipation, airborne cloud physics tracer studies, seeding equipment. You can get it all right here at the North American Weather Consultants. The things they didn't tell you about the artificial clouds. Even small changes in the abundance or location of clouds could change the climate more than the anticipated changes caused by greenhouse gases that come from NASA. You may think that chemtrails are a hoax and that people who believe the conspiracies are simply uneducated, or you may have been led to believe that the covert geoengineering programs are underway. In either case, I hope to change your mind with this data. Hey, thanks out there, Teresa. An aircraft produces about 10 trillion cubic feet of water vapor annually. Fake clouds, man. Fake clouds all over the place. And we can look at them right now. But here's a bunch of companies with the links for California, Colorado, Georgia, Hawaii, Idaho. And, you know, they do it from the ocean too. These are the bunker fuel, the ship tracks. They do it from ground-based cloud ionizers. I mean, we're not even getting into the electromagnetics tonight. We're just talking about the man-made clouds. North Dakota cloud seeding planes get the green light. This is June 7, 2018. So if you were in Stanley, Mount Rail, Ward, McKenzie, Bowman, you had your clouds artificially seeded. And I bet nobody even asked your consent. They just do it. They just do it. They don't care what you think. Weather and climate modification. This is the article we went over the other day, where it's got the quote from Kennedy talking about they can change the climate in days, and not just a small area. They're talking about worldwide. So when all these fake mainstream media is pushing agendas, they're pushing these little kids out here to try to further their motives. We're not going to put up with it. We're not going to listen to it. We're just going to turn them off. Let's make them all go bankrupt. Oh yeah, here was the article on President Kennedy talking about how they can change the climate. And there's a big history with the military and the climate. When the Earth's become global. Let me see if I can get down to that quote. They'll say this is inadvertent weather modification. It's all on purpose. All right, so here we go. In a speech to the National Academy of Sciences in 1963, President Kennedy noted that the human science could now alter our physical and biological environment on a global scale. This was a fundamental realization that humans could change the world, and they could do it in a matter of minutes to years if they chose. The Cold War forced scientists and their military benefactors to realize that humans had become more efficient at shaping the earth than most geological forces in existence. It was tempting then for Cold War militaries to investigate just how far that power could go on both destructive and constructive. Thanks there, DW. So there you go, man. 1963, they were already talking about climate change. They were talking about how they could change the climate. It's all a farce, man. It's all to push the new world order. And we're starting to get more and more of these articles coming out. Like here from Zero Head, September Snow Blast 2019 weather modification out of control. I agree. So all these links are in the description. It's just maddening, man, knowing what we know. Trying to get people awake to the madness. August 27, 2000. In the pursuit of weather modification, last week, Nevada announced the end of the cloud seeding program due to budget cuts. Huh, really? Idaho Power, we just talked about them. Say they've been around for a long time, 2003. Idaho Power, which generates much of its electricity for dams, has been using cloud seeding since 2003 at a cost of about $850,000 per year for its main program. Hey, did you know your taxpayer money is going to the power company so that they can modify your weather? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. You're paying for the weather modification, and you didn't even know it. You know, the seasons, they have all the seasons screwed up. We don't have fall and spring anymore. It goes straight from summer to winter, and summer will last longer. Summer really officially don't end till like November. How do we stop climate change? Take away the power from the military industrial complex. Take away the power of these politicians. They're all corrupt. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the 16-day forecast. And we will be taking a look at this hurricane heading towards the Azure Islands. This thing's going to do a freak out, man. It's going to go over the islands, and then it's going to head up towards Greenland. And it's going to merge with all these other storms. You know, I think people are worried there in the UK. I don't think this thing's even going to get close to you. I think it's going to hit Iceland and Greenland. And we'll take a look at that. All right, so we're going to jump into the 16-day forecast. We'll take a look at the GFS model, the Canadian model, and then during the week, we factor in the weather modification programs as we spot them, because that changes everything. You know, these models are made for natural weather cycles. They're not made for Idaho Power Company over here, cloud seeding. They're not made to show the Texas driver's license, you know, the U.S. Department of Agriculture down here, cloud seeding in Texas. They don't factor that in on these models, just like they don't factor that in on the climate change nonsense. All right, so here we go. We're going to go up 6 hours at a time. Now, I'll try to get through this fast as I can. We'll start out right here. We got a wind event going on already. We got blizzard-type conditions up in Alberta. We'll look at the snow amounts. We got a little rain going there in Northern California. Well, here we go. Let's go 6 hours at a time. And we see this thing's going to stay pretty far north. Heavy rain down there into Mexico. So, you know, the same targets that's been hit over and over and over: Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, North Dakota. They have the patterns just stuck. So here we go on Monday, September 30th, tomorrow. Heavy rain, severe thunderstorms up in North Dakota. Rain on the backside. Wind event. This is like a land cyclone. So Canada, you're going to get hammered with, you know, a little bit of everything. A little bit of ice, a little bit of rain, heavy snow, thunderstorms, wind. Let's go on up into Tuesday. Here's Tuesday. Storms are going to fire right back up there in Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota. Same areas every single time. We got some moisture coming up through the New Mexico into Texas. A little bit of rain over here in Georgia. It's heavy, heavy snow. I mean, we're looking at heavy snow up there in Canada. What happened to fall? What happened about the leaves changing? Here we are still on Tuesday. We got more heavy tornadic storms possible here for New Mexico, Texas, Oklahoma. Let's take this up another 6 hours. Another tornado outbreak here on Tuesday, going up into Kansas, Iowa. There we go. All day long. Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Michigan, the same cities every week. Look at that. It's just sticking around. More flooding rain, more rain bombs. Here we are into Wednesday, October 2nd, still raining in a real fine band. Look, and they fire right back up over Kansas City on Wednesday. See, this has been the target zone for 2019. Everything you see in the rain right here, that's the target zone. Now, you know, early in the year, February, March, maybe June, I said there would be no hurricanes on the East Coast. And we had, the first one was Barry, which wasn't even a hurricane. It was a ritual, and it never even turned into a hurricane. They just said it did. And then Dorian was something else. It was a man-made weather weapon, just like Hurricane Michael. And other than that, there probably will not be a hurricane hitting the East Coast. There's too much Sahara dust. It blows them apart. You know, like the hurricane right now, there's no reason it should even be there right now. It's another weapon. All right, so here we go on Thursday, October 3rd. More tornadic weather for Oklahoma. Let's see if this thing grows. You know, little rain bombs over and over. Upper northeast, you're in for some rain. I know you guys probably need a little bit of rain up there. So here you go on Friday, October 4th. More pop-up rain bombs. New Mexico, Texas. Still on Friday the 4th. Let's get up into Saturday. Just a little bit of rain. It looks like we're getting a break. Saturday, no severe weather anywhere. October 5th. Let's just take it up till we see anything significant. Here's Sunday, October 6th. And here we go, firing up the new storms in Kansas on the 6th. Going right through my area, another rain bomb. Rain bombs for everybody on Sunday, October 6th. Right through Iowa, Wisconsin, Detroit, Michigan. You know, it's just the same over and over. This is a wind event. This is another land-based cyclone. Heavy rain. But yeah, this is just like a cyclone going across the land. Look at that thing. It even has the coma type look with a super low pressure. Look at that thing just spin up. Now, when this one comes off the coast, this is when the UK needs to worry, because this thing is coming. Here we are on Tuesday the 8th. So like by, you know, in a week or two, that thing is going to be over in the UK. Look at that thing. Wrap up. Heavy rain up there in Washington. We backed that up. Yeah, so we got some heavy rain coming in on the Tuesday the 8th for the whole upper northeast. And it's a wind, remember, it's a wind event. So it could have some little quick spin ups. And let's just take this up to the next significant weather day. Look at here up in the northwest. You're going to have some flooding rains here on the 9th, next Wednesday. Not this Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. Look at that snow in the mountains. Heavy snow for BC. Nothing though. The chemtrail planes will be refueling on these days. Snow, more snow for Idaho. You know, they'll be using the antenna arrays and the cloud generators and the rockets being shot up. They got to make more snow. Here we go. A little more rain for Iowa, Wisconsin, Northern California. Here's a little bit of rain. They're not going to give anything for Southern California. They have it blocked. No moisture for you. All right, see, look at this, going right through the same areas. Here we are on the 10th. Let's go ahead and take this up. More snow for Wyoming. It doesn't look like we're going to have fall this year. It's just going to go from summer to winter. And really, it's still going to be summertime, and the weather patterns are not changing like they should. Another big wind event right here. So you got another blizzard type condition here on Friday, October 11th. Parts of Colorado, rain for Michigan, Wisconsin. So Wyoming, more rain or more snow for you guys. Here, let's take this on up. Ooh, we're going to get a little bit of snow in South Dakota, North Dakota, a wind event. So this will be like your first snow will be like a blizzard. It's not super heavy. Well, it is on this day. You got ice and snow and wind. So kind of a heads up here for Friday, October 11th. Snow, ice, and heavy rain and wind. And it's going to take its time getting out of here. So while this is going on up in the north, we're going to have severe pop-up storms all the way from Mexico all the way up through Oklahoma, Texas, Missouri, Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan. Let's see if this thing goes right through the Ohio Valley. This is going to be another big heads up because this is a wind event, man. There's going to be most likely some tornadoes farther up north with this storm on the 12th. So yeah, that thing's going to track right across the east. Another inbound there for the west here on October 12th. This is Saturday, October 12th. A little bit of much needed rain there in Florida. Don't look very heavy, but it's some rain nevertheless. East Coast or West Coast still getting hammered. And we got a weird system that's getting ready to pop up. Now it looks like they couldn't conjure up that storm down here in the Caribbeans. There was too much dust. They just couldn't do it. Mother Nature outdid the weather controllers. So it looked like Washington, Oregon, you guys are going to be getting quite a bit of rain here over the next 2 weeks, but there's going to be something developing down here by Florida here at the end of the month. Look, here it comes. You can already see the pressure coming up. Look at that going right over the islands. Look at that. That thing looks like a monster. We're going to have to explode this up a little bit, see what we got going down there. Look at that. It's showing 24 inches of rain. We have a rain scenario, but it's all going to depend on the Sahara dust. This thing most likely will get kicked out, go, around Bermuda. But here's where it is right now for October 15th. We'll bump out and look at that here in a second. Let's look at the temperatures. We'll see if we're going to be going into winter yet. Still in the 90s. I see a lot of red on the map. While you got extreme cold up in the northwest, it's hot everywhere else. See, this is the target for the cold. Maybe they're trying to cool down Yellowstone. Remember the article where they wanted to pump the water down into Yellowstone? They wanted to frack into the side of the volcano and pump water in there to cool down the magma. So here's some 50s. Oh, there's a little bit of 40s. So here's a little bit of a cold blast here on the October 7th. So this will be our first blast of cool air, and then a rebound up into the 60s. So here's our fall weather. Fall is not going to start until the 7th or 8th. But then summer's not over. Summer's coming back on the 9th. See, look at that. Look at the temperatures on the 10th. Yeah, summer's, ooh, that's a cold. This is going to be a severe weather day right here, October 11th. Look at that cold crashing down into this heat. This should be like a tornado outbreak day. Look at that. See, cold air is heavier than the hot air, so it'll just push that hot air away. So here's our first cold day, October 13th. Mark it down on your calendars. And that's going to drop everybody down pretty cold. Not cold, but until they move the polar vortex winds up. This is typical fall weather. All right. So what I want to do is I need to back that out a little bit so we can check out the system coming in at the end of the month. There it is. Let's back this baby up. Why is it going backwards? Why is it going the opposite way of everything else? Every other storm goes the other way. So that thing looks like a big boy right there. Let's put it on the precipitation. This is pretty far out. This is like 2 weeks out. So yeah, even before this turns into a hurricane, if that's indeed what it is, and it looks like it's going to form over land. So as far as the models will take us right now. And here's our total precipitation for the next 2 weeks. These are the target zones. So heavy rains or snows, either one up here in Washington, Oregon. Heavy rains for parts of New Mexico, Texas, a little band through Kansas, well, a couple areas of Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Iowa, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and the upper Northeast. You're going to be getting some moisture. Look at Southern California, not one drop of moisture in the next 2 weeks. And there's what's showing the heavy rain from that hurricane. Like, I'm not even going to call them a hurricane unless I know it's an actual hurricane. Here, let's take a quick look at this typhoon or hurricane. Let me get this on the tropical cyclone page. All right, so here's Hurricane Lorenzo. All right, let me back out to the 8 kilometers. Now, the other day, the mainstream media was reporting 20-foot waves, and I was picking up 50-foot waves. Oh, that reminds me. This is going to blow your mind. All right, I got to show you guys this before I forget. All right, so here's Hurricane Lorenzo. Now, I was over here looking at this thing. Today's the 29th. All right, so I'm looking at this hurricane. I'm looking at the seeding operations all over it. And I'm like, you know, we got this sunlight beam here, which makes the colors a little different. Check out the waves coming off the storm. Like, we have like tidal waves out here. These are like tsunamis. So this little glare is just showing these huge rogue waves out here. I mean, these are big ass waves. I looked on Google Earth. This isn't the terrain under the ocean. These are waves. We got rogue waves out in the Atlantic right now. I mean, huge. These things have to be monster waves to be picked up like this. They look like mountains. So something is going on with this storm. You can actually see some seeding. But yeah, we got mega waves rippling out here. And then when you get up in here, man, you see heavy aerosols being deployed. And look at this formation right here. What is this? It looks like they dropped some kind of explosives out here. Maybe that's what created the waves. So, you know, sometimes when you get the sun shining on stuff, it shows stuff that you're not supposed to see. So this is just insane. These are big ass waves. I mean, them are huge waves. Rogue waves coming off the storm, headed, you know, I can't tell if they're headed south or headed, you know, who knows. All I can say is they're big ass waves, and they're seeding the crap out of Hurricane Lorenzo. So it's going to be, you know, a tropical storm. In fact, let's go look at the mimic on this thing. Oh yeah, we know Fukushima is going to be leaking for hundreds of years. All right, while that's loading, let's take a quick look at the Sahara dust layer, because this hurricane shouldn't even be a hurricane. It's being inundated with toxic Sahara dust. Look at this thing. It's wrapped with dust. You know, if this dust wasn't out here, this would be a category 6. I'm not kidding either. So watch this thing starts out. I mean, look at this dust out here. This is classified as a carcinogen. So that thing is just so wrapped with the dust. You know, maybe these storms down here popping off that got split off of that thing is what's making them rogue waves out there. Man, I can't even believe that thing. That's what's going to kill it out before it hits the Azure Islands. If this does one out here, man, that'd be like a category 6. You know, 70-foot waves. Insane storm. Geostorm. Where to go? Here we go. The mimic. See, that's not a perfect eye. Remember Dorian? Remember Hurricane Dorian? Hurricane Michael? Perfectly circular eye. Completely different signature. We can definitely tell the man-made hurricanes versus natural hurricanes. So here's our tracks. So it's still going to be a category 1 when it goes north of the Azure Islands, however you pronounce it. And what we can do is we can look at where it's going. I know people in the UK are probably worried about this storm. Let's take it up a day at a time, see how far out we can go. Let's go up another day. And here it is going north of that North Island. You're still gonna, wow, look how far it jumped in one day. So it jumps from one day, it must really speed up. We'll see what the winds are. 86 mile an hour winds. Definitely category 1, almost category 2. The islands are going to be getting hit with surge. But wow, look how far this jumps up in one day. What the hell? We're looking at 90 mile an hour winds. So in one day it goes, 1,000 miles. So that thing must really pick up speed. It's merging with that big system I was telling you about up in the north. Let's see if we got another day on this thing. Look at that. It ends up here around Iceland and Greenland. You probably get a little bit of splits of wind energy headed over towards the UK. We'll check into this tomorrow, see if it, that's like a triple cyclone event right there. Look, all the winds are being pulled up and back around. So you're going to be looking at warm temperatures coming up from the equator up to the UK. So you're probably going to be cold. All right, let me get this back on now. Let's check the polar vortex winds. They're starting to show up. This is not good. This is when this down here disappears and it comes up here, that adds a whole new aspect to weather engineering, because then they can get us with the cold. They can park the polar vortex winds right over us. We still have our anomaly over the equator. This is what's blowing all the dust over. This is what wiped out every hurricane except for the man-made hurricane, Hurricane Dorian. That was a weapon. That wasn't even a hurricane. Let's check the temperatures. See if we still have our rapid heating event over the Antarctic. So right now we're at minus 13.9 degrees. Let's see what we are up in the north. Minus 75.7. So they are definitely purposely heating the Antarctica. They're trying to get to something. They're trying to release something. Look at that. They're just parking it right over Antarctica. I mean, this has been the biggest heating event I've ever witnessed, other than the one where they parked the polar vortex winds, the polar vortex air over it last year. I'm just kind of taking this back so you guys could see this rapid heating event that's completely parked over Antarctica. I mean, this has been a wicked, wicked event. Look at that. Right there, you're looking at 46.1 degrees up in the stratosphere. That shouldn't even be possible. That's some ionospheric heating right there. They turn the ionosphere into a plasma antenna. They send up high frequencies, which can be bounced around as low frequencies, super low, and they just pulse this thing. They're melting the Antarctic for some reason. We need to figure it out. Maybe they're trying to create, some kind of climate change that creates such a big catastrophe that they'll try to make everybody believe that it's climate change and not climate control. Let's just take a look over here at the UK and see if they are seeding these guys. So we do got cloud seeding operations below Ireland, and I may not have this map loaded good enough. The ships are way out here. We got bunker fuel being deployed way out off the coast today. We can go ahead and add that layer. See if we can spot them a little better. This is not a flat earth channel. This is not a Planet X channel. This is not a grand solar minimum channel, which we do talk about that. But one thing we do that they don't do is we factor in the weather modification. You can't have both without the other. So here's our bunker fuel being deployed all out here in the Pacific. This is going to be a weather pattern change. That's why they're way out here.